your new tab. But the cock feather goes out. Yep, good job. Yep, just like that. Pull it back. Good job. Nice. Nice, good job. Alright, I'm working this year on making a bow for my daughter, just to start her self-bow. And while I'm having the wood, I split the wood that I have already and I'm letting it dry before I start to shape it down further. In the meantime, I'm starting to make some tack for her. So I made her a tab, because as she's learning to shoot the bow, her fingers get a little sore, or at least the bow that I have that she can shoot. So I'm just going to make a quick tutorial on how to make a finger tab, make a tab for yourself. This one is sized for her. This is one that I made some years ago for a stepdaughter I had, and I made her a bow. And this has had a, I don't remember, can't remember why I still have it, but at any rate, this is kind of a design that I put on here using black walnut dye, actually. So it's kind of a little nifty little design on here. And again, this one doesn't really fit me because it was built for her at the time. And so I'm going to make one that's going to fit me, because after I make my daughter's bow, I'm going to make myself one, another one. So what I like to do when I'm making patterns is I like to use old paper bags, because the paper is a lot sturdier to keep the patterns, to reuse them later. Here's the pattern for this one that I made a couple weeks ago. And so we're gonna make another one for myself, and then I have some scraps of buckskin, and I like to make these out of buckskin because the buckskin is soft, but it's also very tough. So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna open up this paper bag, and then I'm gonna lay out my pattern, and then we're gonna cut it out. And so I've got my piece of paper bag set out to make the pattern, but while I'm at it, I just wanted to, I guess, show so a bow glove that I emulated from one that I had, and this is made out of buckskin, and I laced the fingers in and everything, and it works pretty nifty. I'm not going to be recreating this or doing this because this was kind of a bit of a tedious project, but it worked pretty good. It actually still works, so just keep it around. But this is again what you can do with buckskin. Basically I just reverse engineered a tab that I already had, and then this wraps, or not the tab, but a bow glove that I already had, and this wraps around and closes up on the button like so. But again, we're not going to be making this. The regular tab is just much more easier and simpler to create, and any piece of leather or dense material will do. So anyway, so what I want to do is I draw back with my right hand, so I basically just kind of want to lay out an outline for my fingers. So I'm just going to kind of draw my hand like that, and then so my first index, middle, and ring finger like so. So I just want to get the general size of it. All right, so now that I have a general size, I'm just going to sketch this out. Now what I will do for those people who are not very aren't drafts people, I'm going to go ahead and just put this on my website at the Urban-Abo.com and for download, and so look for the link on this video. So basically I'm going to make something like that. So I'm going to make it a little bit bigger, and I have about a medium-sized hand. For people out there with larger hands, you may have to make some adjustments, but this is basically it. So I'm going to I like to outline a little bit. Double check. So, this actually might be a little bit too large, so I'm going to just bring that down to size a little bit. There we go. So it's about right, and I'm putting an X here because what we're going to do is we want this hole to be just the right size. So that's kind of how I like to do my patterns. So I just kind of draw this out. So yeah, this should be about right. And I can always adjust it once I cut this out. I think for my longer fingers, that'll be just fine. Index finger's a little long, so I'm just gonna go ahead and kind of mark off where I cut, because my middle finger is actually gonna go through this part here, so that's why the measurement was off from the beginning. I forgot about that, and to adjust for that, so I really need to just take off maybe about that much. So and then just cut this out like that. Alright, so that'll be that. And usually when I pull back, I usually just use my 2 fingers, so this will be more than enough as far as size is concerned. So then what I will do is I'll go ahead and I'll take my pen, and I need to figure out the size for my finger to go through. So I made an X here. I'll go ahead and just kind of punch a hole through the paper. It's like so. And kind of cut through the X here carefully, because obviously we're going to rip the paper if I'm not careful with this process. And then what I can do is just start to work my finger through based on the size of the X that I need to create. There yet. That's my middle finger to kind of get it started. Or that's rather my index finger. Then I can take my middle finger now, start to gently tuck this on. Now it's got to get around my knuckle here, so I just want to very carefully kind of shape it. There we go. Got ripped a little bit, but that's okay. We don't want to rip it all the way. So you want to have about that much. So now I can take this and start to cut my hole out with the approximate diameter of my middle finger. And if this was to rip, I'd just take some tape and just tape it on there. It's just a pattern. Okay. Go here, and that'll be fine. It'll be perfect. Do that, and then it'll go on my hand like this. Okay. So once we have this, now we can transfer it to the buckskin. Take this, fold this down, like so. So that's a rough approximation. Okay, so here we have it. This is going to be basically the tab we're going to use. I think I have enough buckskin that'll fit both here. Yep, this sizing is about right. So what I want to do next is I want to take my size, take the tab here, and then what I want to do is kind of map out how big of a piece I need, and it will be about that big. I'll use this for later, and then make sure that we have enough space for this size here, for this side here as well. So yeah, we're looking good. So basically what I'm going to do next is I'm going to take some rubber cement. Hide glue in a primitive situation would work too. I have some high glue somewhere. I can't seem to find out to dig it up. But I'm just going to use rubber cement. Super glue, Elmer's glue will work just fine, but rubber cement will be a little bit more permanent than Elmer's glue. It's water soluble. So I just want to take some rubber cement here, and I'm just going to smear it all over the place. Especially focusing on the area where the tab is going to fit. Okay, now that we have the rubber cement tacked down, I'm going to go ahead and lay my other piece right on top of it. And it's to be flesh side to flesh side. So I want the brown sides out. Just like so. And smash these together. Sometimes you just put a book on this and come back in a half hour or so and it'll be nice and pressed down. Alright. So after adding the glue and having it tacked down for a little bit, go ahead and transfer my pattern onto the buckskin here. And what I want to do here is I'm using a pencil to just outline excuse me, where I'm going to be cutting this. The pencil is not permanent, it'll eventually rub out. Using a marker or a pen will be more permanent. A little harder to see on camera though, I'm aware. And then draw the hole. And voila. So that's pretty much it. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to actually get a sharper pair of scissors. So punch a hole, and I just used a blade to cut a slit in here. That way I can fit my scissors in. And then cut my hole out from there. Just like that. Make sure my finger can go through, and buckskin stretches, so even if it didn't, it'll work over time. It'll stretch out over time. So now we can go ahead and just cut the outline like so. So there you have it, pretty much. Fit this on here like so. And then this would hold your bowstring. Not really tough to make. Really quick and dirty. I'll probably have to add a little bit more glue to it, but for the most part, that's pretty much it. So that's how you make a tab, archery tabs, using a paddle.